Regardless of the outcome of the upcoming election, Colombia's next president will face a challenging macroeconomic environment that will constrain the government's agenda and shape the business environment for the next 4 years. There are 3 key features of the macroeconomy that businesses should keep in mind. The first is the precarious fiscal situation. Despite slight improvements in 2021, the fiscal deficit is expected to stand at 6.1% of GDP in 2022, and public debt is expected to rise to 62% of GDP. Both are well above pre-pandemic levels and are expected to remain there for several years. In 2021, 2 major credit rating agencies downgraded Colombian debt to junk status, and the country is unlikely to regain investment-grade status in the near future. The second challenge is the high external deficit. The current account deficit stood at 5.7% of GDP in 2021, among the highest levels in Latin America's major economies. The country will continue to depend on capital inflows to finance domestic consumption. The third challenge has to do with high levels of inflation and unemployment. As in most of the world, a combination of supply chain issues and a strong surge in domestic demand in 2021 has sent prices of food and other basic goods through the roof. The inflation figure for April, 9.2% annually, is the highest the country has seen in over 20 years. Meanwhile, at 12%, is also well above pre-pandemic levels, due to a combination of structural factors such as technological change and the slow recuperation of construction and other labor-intensive industries since the pandemic. While these trends have different underlying causes, they have one key point in common. Both will hit poor households the hardest and therefore exacerbate social discontent, which is already high after the pandemic and 4 years of an unpopular government. What does all this mean for businesses? First, Colombia's dire fiscal straits means that a tax reform will be at the top of the agenda for the next president. Eliminating numerous and costly corporate income tax exemptions and benefits will almost certainly be on the table, regardless of who wins the election. Businesses should expect further changes to the tax structure in 2023. Secondly, high public debt, combined with a twin fiscal and external deficit, mean that investors will be watching the first moves of the next government with an eagle eye. Should policy veer in an unorthodox direction under Gustavo Petro, the current left-wing frontrunner, the economy will likely experience capital flight and a further depreciation of the peso. Finally, the social impact of rising prices and high unemployment mean that social unrest risks will remain elevated in the first year of the next government. Should the next president fail to respond to the strong demand for change, Colombia could experience a resurgence of the massive protests that rocked the country in 2019 and 2021. Despite these risks, however, we do not expect a loss of macroeconomic stability or a major divergence from orthodox policymaking. Colombia's fiscal and monetary institutions are strong. We expect them to maintain their independence and technical orientation even under a left-wing government. Risks are most likely to be concentrated in certain sectors that could see major regulatory change.